Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm with Nava from the Coolios here on YouTube.
Hey.
We actually collabed together
Before our freshman year of college.
And now we're both juniors.
Yeah.
So it's been a really long time, but Nava just got back from abroad. And I am leaving for abroad in a week. I'm going to London. Nava went to Paris and Shanghai, which is so dope. So today we are going to film an abroad tips video for you guys. Nava actually put together a list of a bunch of tips she has collected from her time abroad, and I'm excited because I'm going to get to learn a little bit because obviously I haven't been abroad yet, so I'm going to try to put in as much input as possible, but she's kind of the expert, so...
Yeah, so I've been both in Europe and in Asia, so I think over the 2 semesters I really have learned not everything that there is to know about traveling and studying abroad, obviously, but definitely a lot of helpful tips, and especially after being away for the fall and coming back for the spring, there's a lot of tips that I carried over, and yeah, I'm excited to share them with you guys.
Same, I'm excited. So our first tip is to be wise about location, aka where you are going abroad. So there's a few things to consider when choosing where you want to study abroad. I chose London because of a few factors. I didn't want to have to deal with language barrier. I'm really not good at languages. I'm just really content with English, and I thought that was way easier. So that was one of the reasons why I picked London. Also, in my school, all the other programs you had to do a homestay, stay in someone's house, and I would rather live on my own, so that's another reason why I chose London. Also, I just love the city, and the courses offered in London really coincided with my curriculum, so that was another reason why I chose it.
Yeah, and personally, I went to Paris followed by Shanghai because it was just a program with my major, but Paris made sense because I was a French minor and both the locations had a lot of classes that would help me with my major. It wasn't somewhere random that would not help me along with my credits or make me graduate late.
So our next tip is to use friends/locals in the country that you're studying in. I can relate to this. A bunch of girls in my sorority have been to London, Florence, Madrid, and they actually started a Facebook group for us for the year younger, so that we have basically all the lists of restaurants, bars, clubs, coffee shops, apartments that they liked, stuff like that. So we have all this references for what they liked in their study abroad, so we can have that information as well.
Yeah, and while I was in Paris, actually one of my best friends that I met at camp many years ago lives in Paris. So obviously I got all recommendations from her. It's just really helpful. Ask all your friends of friends, if they've ever lived there before, if they have any docs or lists put together. It just makes your experience that much easier because you're not searching around seeing what's good. You have thorough lists of where you should go, and it just saves a lot of time and you get better experiences.
And I'm sure that anyone who lives in any of these countries, even if you haven't spoken to them for so long or you don't know them directly, would be happy to help you.
Sure.
Everyone's willing to help, especially if you're somewhere new and you're trying to figure out what's best.
Okay, our next tip is to maintain a good balance of living in a place and exploring. So basically, I don't feel as if you should feel pressure to be out all the time 24/7 doing new things, going to new museums and trying new places to eat, because at the end of the day you are living in this location, and if you're living at home or going to college elsewhere, you're not out and about 24/7, but at the same time the time will fly by much quicker than you think, and you don't want to not be able to do the things that you've been wanting to do for the entire semester. So you'll have to maintain a balance of going out and doing things and living your life and going to classes and having a normal life routine.
A lot of people from my school travel every single weekend when they're abroad, which is so fun and seems like an amazing experience. But personally, I want to say that I really experienced London and lived in London and really knew the city at the end of my experience. So there's a few places that I have on my list that I definitely want to hit traveling wise, but I really want to have a good balance between traveling and then actually feeling comfortable and having a place in London.
Yeah, because you want to be that person coming back and people reach out to you and where should I go?
Yeah.
And, you want to be able to be familiar enough with the city to provide someone a solid list of your favorite spots.
Or if you go back there one day, you can be oh my god, this is my city, this is my coffee shop,
for sure.
Stuff like that.
So our next tip is to plan ahead for your weekends. This is kind of difficult to do because, especially if you're traveling with bigger groups of people, it's kind of hard to arrange everyone and get everyone on the same boat, but you will save so much money in the long run if you plan out your weekends, or if you have extended breaks like Thanksgiving or spring break. If you figure out ahead of time what you're doing, you will save so much money on transportation, hotels, and everything like that.
I really need to get on that. I haven't planned any trips.
Yeah.
So I need to figure that out. Our next tip is to bring some essentials from home, like a blanket, peanut butter. You never know what you're not going to be able to find abroad. So if you love something, bring it from home just in case.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it on the comfort items and like fill your suitcase with things from home, but at the same time, it is nice to have those couple items of comfort. Like I remember when I was in Paris, 2 of my best friends brought their like fuzzy blankets from home, and I really regretted not bringing mine because it's just like a small piece of comfort, but like if you're napping, if you're laying around, it's like not only comes of use, but it's like a nice little piece of home when like you may or may not be homesick. So next one is journaling and documenting your travels. This is especially for like the future version of yourself, but I think it's the coolest thing ever to be able to go back. And it's one thing snapping pictures on your iPhone or your camera the entire time, but the beginning of Paris, I journaled everything, and I totally regret not doing it in Shanghai because there's nothing like going back and reading about the first time you met someone or the first time you went somewhere. And especially with documentation, I would do something like a Polaroid camera or a disposable camera, because those two things, you're not caught up in the moment of taking the perfect angle or editing the picture, and you can't see it immediately after you take it. I mean, with a Polaroid, you have to wait a second, but for a disposable, you have to go get your pictures developed, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's something really important in like the raw quality of those photos, because it's just like captured in that second. You look back, you think about the moment. So yeah, I think journaling, writing things down, even like once a week, and then taking pictures, whether it's keeping a Tumblr and putting your pictures on there, having a disposable, like I said, just document your travels, because in the future you're gonna want to look back and read back and see all these experiences and memories.
Our next tip is don't go mainstream.
Yeah, so it's super easy to be somewhere like London and be like, okay, I want to go to Paris, Rome, Barcelona, and like all these like, I don't want to say basic because they're amazing cities with so much interesting culture, but it's easy to go places that you know everyone else is going. But honestly, for example, like my favorite weekend abroad while I was in Paris was Budapest, which is like not a very mainstream city, but it ended up being amazing. We loved the culture. It was so inexpensive. It was like so beautiful, and we didn't have these expectations for it at all. We thought it was just like the bathhouses, which ended up kind of being like glorified public pools. So it's funny because the thing that we thought was going to be the best about the city was kind of like one of our least favorite things. But yeah, honestly, just do your research and like find more low-key kind of places, because I think those make out to be really unique experiences. And of course you want to see like the main places that are really famous, but I feel like at least one weekend it's important to go somewhere more like low-key, under the radar, and see these things that probably not a lot of people that you know will get to see.
And also it's like less of the hype. Like I feel like a lot of stuff about traveling is like, oh my god, is this person gonna want to go here? Is this person gonna go there?
Yeah.
Like how are we gonna coordinate? And like if you just kind of are like, I'm going here, like it's gonna be new, it's gonna be different, then like you don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah, kind of do you sometimes.
Our last tip is to balance your schoolwork while abroad.
So some people get really lucky, and while they're abroad their classes are pass-fail, but unfortunately for me that was not the case.
I don't think mine are
for
either.
Jordan either. So it's really easy to get up in traveling all the time and seeing things and going out and I don't know, just doing fun things all the time, but it is important to realize that like you are studying there technically. I mean, personally, I'm a firm believer that when you study abroad, most of the learning occurs outside the classroom, but you don't want to come back and have like a messed up GPA because you didn't attend class. Like I know for my program specifically, there's super strict attendance policies so that if you miss a couple classes, your grade is already like significantly worsened by that. So just don't be stupid, go to class and like make time to do your work, because you'll probably have much less of it, and it's totally manageable to balance having school while traveling and living abroad.
Okay guys, that is it for all of our abroad tips. Make sure to check out part 2 of this video for 8 more tips on Nava's channel, The Coolios. I will link it down below. Please do not forget to subscribe and like this video if you're going abroad, have been abroad, want to go abroad, and comment down below if you could pick any country to go to in the whole world, where would it be? So yeah, that is it for today. I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.
Bye.